Good morning, all of you. So let us come to the today's class. In today's class, we are going to study what is the respiration in fish and as well as respiration in human beings, or we can say man. So let us come to here. In last class, as we know that we have studied respiration in earthworm. Is it yes or no? So how the respiration will take place means the exchange of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide, how it is takes place in the earthworm and as well as in also we have discussed it in amoeba, correct? So now, as we know that amoeba is a single cellular organism, so that is why there is no complicated respiratory systems is present in that. Just by simple diffusion process, the enough sufficient oxygen is dissolved in the amoeba. So as we know, next coming to the multicellular organisms like humans, the volume of our body is so big so that oxygen cannot diffuse into all the cells of the human body very quickly. So that is why we need a special organ or a system which need to supply the enough sufficient oxygen for to meet the requirement of our body. You understanding or not? So that is why. So we have a special thing in our human blood which contains, understanding, a respiratory pigment which we used to call as, what is that called as? A respiratory pigment is known as which contains
Hemoglobin.
hemoglobin. Very good. So human blood contains this respiratory pigment called hemoglobin, which carries the oxygen from the lungs to the body cells very, very efficient. So that is all we will study in the today's class. So as we know that this hemoglobin is present in RBC, which we used to known as red blood corpuscles. Is it yes or no? So now let us go with that. So as we know, in the respiration in earthworms will take place, only they will absorb the oxygen needed for their respiration through its moist skin. So the skin is the respiratory organ in earthworms and as well as in what? One more organ I have taught you.
Leech.
That is called as leech. Is it yes or no? So now let us enter into our today's class. In today's class, we are going to study the first one is respiration in fish. So all of you please keep heading respiration in fish. So as we know that how the fish will be looks like, and as we have used to see different kind of fishes in our daily life. Is it yes or no? Is there anyone also don't know what is fish? I think most of you people have at least seen, and even we used to prefer. So many of you used to prefer to eat also. Correct or not? So that is. Let us discuss what is respiration in fish in detail. Understand? So as we know that fish is which is understanding which is used to live in water, so that we used to call as fish is known as aquatic animal. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So as we know that if you observe the fish, any kind of fish, maybe the shape may be different, but they have a special organs of breathing. That is what we used to call as gills. What we should call gills. Correct? So if you observe any kind of fish, understand? So the fish has gills on both the sides of its head. If you observe the head of the fish, understand, it having a gills on its both the sides. So these gills, is it visible to us directly? Anybody, have you seen the gills directly? No. Is it yes or no? So if you observe the gills, they are being covered with a gill cover. Just they have been present inside this gill cover. So let us discuss how it will be looks like. Understand? So in this picture you may observe, this is what the real fish, understand, the overall fish looks like. And if you observe this particular part, which while we are your father or your somebody, when they are cleaning the fish, you may observe that they will remove this kind of part. Have you noticed it, which looks like a hairy substance? Is it yes or no? Have you observed? Say respond. So this is what
Yes, sir.
we call as gills. What we should call? What we should call? Gills.
Gills.
Understand a schematic diagram or representation of fish. So every fish will be similar to this. You may observe here. This is what we used to call as gills. Understand? So these gills are present inside, understanding inside the gill cover. So this is the understand. These gills are present both the sides of head of the fish. Do you understanding all of you? Any doubt? Anybody? Please ask. Clear? So as we know that
Yes.
this part is only, this is the special system, understanding, special system which is useful in respiration process of fish. So that is what we will study now. So let us discuss all of you. So as we know that the fish has a special organs of breathing, that is what we used to call as gills. Understand? So they are not visible from outside. So the fish lives in water, and as we know that this water only contains what? They contains the dissolved oxygen. Is it sir? So the water, because the fish used to live in water. Fish is used to live in where? Live in water. So that water contains, this water contains dissolved oxygen. Is it yes or no? Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Dissolved oxygen. So this oxygen only is absorbed by whom? Is absorbed by fish, and it will be useful for the respiratory respiration process. So now let us discuss in detail that dissolved oxygen. So now if you'll observe carefully, understand. So for breathing, the fish uses the oxygen which is dissolved in water. Is it yes or no? So whatever the
Yes.
water, whatever the oxygen which is dissolved in water, so this is only which will be utilized by whom? Utilized by
Fish.
all the kind of fishes for their respiration process. Now, let us discuss how this respiration process will take place. So now, all of you observe. You may observe in this picture. So, as we know that the fish is used to swim inside the water always. It is aquatic animal. So now, as we come to know that, if you may observe here, the fish used to open the mouth. So the water which is present here is to enter through this mouth. Is it yes or no? Can you able to observe all of you?
Yes, sir.
Observe or not? So that is what the respiration
sir.
process will begins here. Understand? So the fish breathes by taking in water through its mouth, and later it will sending it over the gills. Understand? Ra? So it will start its breathing process by taking in water through its mouth. So here you may observe the water is entering through its mouth, and it will be passed throughout the gills. So whatever the water is entering, it will go across the gills. So here the gills are the major part of the respiration where the exchange of gaseous exchange will take place. Do you understanding all of you? So once this water which is entering through its mouth and sending understanding over the gills, so here these gills, they will start their process called as, when this water is passing over these gills, the gills will extract dissolved oxygen from this water. Do you understanding, Ra? So when water
Yes.
passes over the gills, when water, what will happen, Ra?
Water passed over the place.
When water passes over the gill, so what will happen? This will extract. This will extract the dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen. Do you understanding all of you? Dissolved oxygen. So later what will happen? Once this oxygen is the extracted, which is dissolved from this water, so again the water then goes out through the gill slits, we used to call as, what we should call? Gill slits, which is under the gill cover. Do you understanding all of you? So here we have a gills. So next, once the oxygen is extracted from dissolved water, so these gills will give this water to the next part called as gill slits. What we should call? Gill slits, just which are present
Slits.
below this gill cover. Do you understanding, Ra? So gill cover is the outer layer which we used to see the fish. Do you understanding, all of you? So this is what we used to
Yes.
call as understanding gill cover. So just before understand, just below this gill cover, we have a gill slits. So there, this gill slit, they will send the oxygen. Understanding this again the water into outside. So that is what it will happen. So the after this extracted, understanding once the gills will extract the dissolved oxygen, then this gill slit just which is hidden under this gill cover, they will water will go through it. So the dissolved oxygen is extracted from water by the fish when it flows over where? When it flows over the which part? Flows over the gills. Is it yes or no? So once this oxygen is absorbed, this extracted oxygen is absorbed by the understand blood, and it is carried the parts of the fish. That is what it will happen. Do you understanding, all of you? Because
Yes,
as
sir.
fish also contains blood. It's like our humans. Is it yes or no? So once this
Yes, sir.
oxygen is extracted by these gills, so immediately the blood, understand, which will absorb like our lungs, our respiratory system, saying how it will take place. Same way, understand. So these gills, understanding, once they will extract this oxygen, this extracted oxygen is absorbed by the blood, and that blood will be carried to all the parts of the fish. Do you understanding, all of you? So the carbon dioxide, again the same process, it reverse now. Once this blood will be carried, this oxygen throughout the body cells, understanding, body parts of the fish. So again, as we know that in cells, where it will take place, Ram? So where the respiration will take place inside the cells. Is it yes or no? Is it yes or no? So once the oxygen is reaching, understanding, so there the respiration process is carried out. So as we know, respiration process will carried out. It will produce what? What it usually produce? What it will
Carbon dioxide.
produce? It will release the
Oxygen.
energy. It will release the energy, as well as we used to get the byproducts, or else understand unnecessary products which we used to call as carbon dioxide, and as well as water will release. So as we know, water will be utilized by the body, but the carbon dioxide is not safe. It is a harmful, understanding. So that is why it is a toxic substance. So that we need to send it outside. We need to expel it outside from the body. So that is why what we will do. So again, the understand the carbon dioxide which is produced by respiration is brought back by the blood into the gills for expelling into the surrounding water. Understanding that? So once this respiration process is carried out, so the carbon dioxide which is produced in this process, again the blood will, which is coming to the gills, it will bring that understanding carbon dioxide. So that gills again they will expelling into the surrounding water. So that is why we can say gills are the understanding respiratory organs of fish, because fish has no lungs like us. So that is why the gaseous exchange in fish takes place in the where it will take place? Where it will take place gaseous exchange?
Gill.
It takes place
Gills.
in gills. Do you understanding, all of you? Is there any doubt? Please ask me. It takes place in gills. So that is why I can say gills are the respiratory organs of whom? Gills are the respiratory organs of fish. Because it does not have, understand, it has no lungs like us. So the respiratory surface of fish is the surface of its gills. So that is why you should write it. So it is a common observation if you'll observe anywhere, understanding. So any kind of fishes, most of the fishes, but some aquatic animals also, it is not like, understanding, they used to breathe through the gills. You may observe, so for example, blue whale, understand, whenever it needs oxygen, it will come to the surface of water, and again it will absorb the huge amount of oxygen at a time, and again it will go inside. Have you noticed it? That is what we can say. So like some animals, and also dolphins. Do you know dolphins? Whenever they need oxygen, they used to dive. Have you noticed it? They will jump and they will jump and again they will jump. Have you noticed? So while they are
Yes,
jumping,
sir.
you will notice they used to jump because to inhale oxygen means breathing the air and again to exhale. And whenever understand to exhale the unnecessary product carbon dioxide which is produced in the respiratory process. But if you observe the most of the fishes, understand the respiratory process is carried out by gills only, so that we can say, understanding the respiratory surface in the fishes, which we used to call as what, Amma? The respiratory surface of fish is the surface of its gills. That is what you should note it down, all of you. The respiratory surface, of fish is the surface of gills. Surface of gills. Do you understanding, all of you? Please let me know. So whenever they are asking how the respiration process will take place carried out in fish, then we people can prefer this diagram is the suitable diagram which understand we can use to draw and we can explain in our general words. Is it yes or no? Understand? So this diagram will show the gills in fish which extract dissolved oxygen from water. Do you understanding, all of you? So this is the diagram which we can show and which we can represent, which understand the gills which are existed in the fish to extract oxygen from where? Dissolved oxygen from water. Do you understand? Now, generally, let us discuss. I need to discuss a little bit more regarding this respiration in fish. How many of you know that when you will try to bring the fish, understand, from the water to the air or else the surface, it is usually die very fastly. Is it yes or no? Is it yes or no? And please respond here.
Yes, sir.
Why it is happening? Do you notice it? As we know that where the oxygen level is more, is it in air or else in water? Is it in air or in water? Please.
Air.
The fish is going to die. Whenever used to brought into the atmosphere, normal, not in water, immediately it is used to die. Understand? Why? What is happening? Can you able to explain, please, anybody?
It can't take oxygen in air, sir.
Yes, very good. So, you may notice it, even though the air is rich in oxygen, understand, oxygen rich air is present in the surroundings, in our atmosphere. But yes, the respiratory system which is present in this fish, it is unable to absorb or else extract the oxygen. So that is why you can see, understand. So the fish has no lungs like us, so they cannot, if we'll try to bring them, understand. So the gills cannot take in the oxygen from air on land. So that is why, since the fish does not get oxygen for breathing, when taken out of water, it dies immediately. Is it yes or no? Have you noticed it?
Sir.
Yes. That is why many aquatic animals, not only this fish, if we take prawns, do you know prawns? Prawns, prawns. Do you know it or not?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Mussels. Mussels, do you know mussels? How many of you know? How many of you seen mussels? Do you know mussels or not? That is the one of the aquatic animal, which will be looks like a closing and like what we can say all chippers like that. Which will be, do you know? Yes or no?
Sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The prawns, understand? Prawns and mussels. So these kind of, understand, these kind of aquatic animals also, they have a respiratory system called as gills only. So these gills, understanding, is unable to extract the oxygen when it is to brought into the atmosphere. So that is why they will die. Do you understanding? So understand. So this is what the difference between the respiration in gills, understand, means in fish and as well as in the humans. Understand? So that is why, because the fish does not have lungs to utilize the oxygen of air for breathing and respiration. So that is why, as we know, the reason behind the death or else die of the fish is because the gills is only extract the oxygen, dissolved oxygen from water. They are unable to extract the oxygen from air, so that they will go and they will die. As well as same way, when we will go inside the water, same thing. When we will try to extract the oxygen from water, is it possible? Is it possible?
Sir.
Definitely.
No, sir.
Because when we will try to breathe the oxygen from the dissolved oxygen from water, so as we know that water will go inside, and immediately we people, if you are trying to breathe like that only, we people leads to death. Is it yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
It will happen. So this is what the respiration. Understand? Respiration in fish. The diagram you have to draw and you have to explain in our own. So now, understand. You please note that fish and earthworm do not exchange the gases during respiration in the same way. The fish exchange the gases by using its special organs called as gills, and as well as the before one, where the earthworm exchange the gases through that what? What is the respiratory part of earthworm?
Skin.
Moist.
Skin.
Moist.
Skin.
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 Moist. So this is what about the respiration process in fish. So is there any doubt? Anybody? Please tell me. Any doubt? Anybody? Please let me know.
No, sir.
Are you having doubt? Are you
No,
clear?
sir.
How it will take place? So here 3 words you should remember. 3 words you have to remember in respiration in fish. What is that? Water is entering into the mouth, which has been passed over by what? Gills. So gills will extract the dissolved oxygen. So next what will happen? That water is again sending by whom? Sending by whom?
Blood.
Gill slits. What we should call?
Gill.
Gill
Slits.
hidden below the whom? Gill cover. What we should call?
Gill cover.
Gill cover.
Gill cover.
So once after this oxygen is extracted by these gills, that will be carried by whom? Carried by whom? No response.
What, sir?
Once this oxygen is extracted by the gills, this oxygen
Blood, sir, blood.
carried throughout the fish parts of the different parts of the fish
Blood, sir.
by blood.
Blood.
Understand?
Blood.
The respiration process will carried out. Again, the same blood will bring the carbon dioxide back into the gills, so that gills will expelled into the surrounding water. Do you understanding, all of you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So this is what is called as respiration in fish. Understand? So I hope you understand very well. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. If not, we will enter into the next organ. Understand? That is only used to called as next animal or human being. Understanding? Sir, in crabs also have gills, but they survive in land. How? They are having. You may observe, Dina. They don't have a gills. Have you noticed it? Crabs that does not have gills. They have a system like understand, like a fish. They are the both. We can say that both they used to survive in the land as well as in special things we can call as like a frog. They can survive as well as in water as well as in land. That is what we can say. You understand, Dina? Okay. So they have a special respiratory system. 1 minute, I will make it. That is also crabs, correct? So crabs respiratory system. So they can survive. Why they are surviving both the places means, understand. So they usually retain, understand, they have a gills, but they also developed accessory breathing organs. Understand, usually they have a, understand, lungs formed from the inner lining of this gills. Understand. So that is why they can survive both, means in the sense of their organs, these respiratory organs which we used to call as a gills, they have been developed. They can absorb the oxygen from the air as well as the water. So that is why they can survive in the both the places. Understand, Dina? Okay, Dina? Okay. So this is what the respiration in fish. So the next we will go and we'll study. What is the next one, Ra? Respiration in? Respiration in?
Human.
Humans. Understand? So write it. Shall we start?
Yes.
Yeah. So as we know that we already know what is the respiratory organs in our body or as human beings, because we people used to call it as human beings. So what is the respiratory organ which is present in our human beings?
Lung.
Lungs. Lungs.
From where
Lungs.
we are breathing oxygen? Where we people are breathing oxygen? From where?
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. From
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. Correct or not? So that is why we have a special name called as we are breathing the oxygen. We are taking the oxygen from air. So that is why these human beings, understand, we used to call it as air breathers. What we should call?
Air breakers.
Because
Breathers.
our breathing process will start from air. We are observing oxygen from air. So that is why, understand, like all the land animals, those who are living on the land or the surface of the earth, understand, human beings also one of the include, we are also part of it. So all we are called as air breathers. Is it yes or no? Yes. So as we know that, why we used to call it as air breathers, because this air only contains what? This air contains what?
Oxygen.
It contains
Oxygen.
oxygen, which is only able to survive all the land animals, understand, which is used to live on the surface of the earth. So let us discuss more in detail. So as we know that human beings need oxygen to stay alive. So we get this oxygen by breathing in air. Is it yes or no? Is it yes or no? So we used to,
Yes,
if
sir.
you want to survive, if you want to survive, definitely you must take, understanding, oxygen which is present in this air. If not, we people die immediately. So as we know that more than 1 or 2 minutes, nobody can survive without breathing oxygen. So we will get this oxygen only by breathing in air. So as we know that this oxygen helps to, what is the use of oxygen? Dina, Pranav, anybody? Why we people are taking oxygen? Can you able to say? Which I already taught you in the previous sessions. What is the use of oxygen? Forget about the other animals, our human beings, respiration in human beings. What is the use of taking oxygen? Please let me know. Anybody? Is there anyone who knows why we are taking oxygen?
You.
Humaira, Jesse, Arya,
To live.
Ganapati,
Sir, our cells need oxygen.
Anita. To break down food particles, that is the important of breathing oxygen. So that is what I will expect the response from you all people. Understand? So why we should breathe? Understand? So because the energy is needed for maintaining our life. Energy is used for maintaining our life. So we are eating food. It will automatically will release the energy? No. If the respiration process is not carried out, then there is no releasing of energy. So that then it is not possible to survive. So that is the reason the oxygen which we are breathing in air, understand, so which will help to break down the food which is absorbed in the body to release what? To release what? To release energy. Do you understanding, all of you? So that is what the thing which you must remember. So to break down the food, understanding, oxygen is absorbed. We are absorbing the oxygen for what purpose? To break down the food. Break down the absorbed food and to release
Energy.
Energy.
energy. So why we need this energy? If you want to maintaining our life, then we must need energy. Is it yes or no? If you want to survive, if you want to maintaining your life, then definitely the energy is used for maintaining, understanding, and surviving our life. So that is why we can say the process by which energy is released from our food, from the food which we are eating in our body, that process is only called as what? What we should call?
Respiration.
Respiration. Understand? That is what you should remember. So once again, you have to remember the definition which you have used to study long back. So what is the meaning of respiration? Can anybody say, please? Respiration means what? The process by which energy is released from food, right? The process by which energy is released from food in our body. The process by which energy is
Release from the food.
released, understanding, released from our body is known as what we should call
Respiration.
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 All of you should note it down. So without this, what will happen? No energy, no survival of life. So that is why, understand? So when we are absorbing the oxygen from air, this oxygen will go and will involve in the respiration process, which will try to break down the food and which will useful to release the energy. So now, as we know, this process is only used to called as respiration. Now, as we know, carbon dioxide and water are the two byproducts of respiration. Is it yes or no? Can anybody say? Is it true or not? So what is the respiration reaction? Please tell me. Let me say anybody fast. What is the respiration reaction? Chemical reaction. Respiration. C6H12. C6H12.
O6.
O6
plus O2
will give you what?
O2 gives
CO2
CO2 plus
plus
ATP. Understand? Plus it will release carbon dioxide. Plus it will form water.
plus oxygen.
So this is
carbon
called as, understand, the respiration reaction which will take place carried out in our inside our body. So these are the called as carbon dioxide and water is called as what? What we should call? Byproducts. What we should call? Byproducts.
Byproduct.
Understanding all of you?
Byproduct.
Carbon dioxide and water are the two byproducts of respiration. So as we know, water is useful for our body. Understand? But this process of respiration will take place where it will take place. Where it will take place the process of respiration. Completely it will take place in where? The respiration will be carried out by cells of the body. Is it yes or no? So respiration will take place inside the cells of a human body. Human body. So as we know that respiration is carried out inside the cells, so that we used to get the two byproducts called as carbon dioxide and water. So it involves, understand, respiratory system which will takes place, the understanding. So the respiration takes place inside the cells of our body, which involves our respiratory system. So as we know that the function of respiratory system, what is the use of respiratory system? Anybody? What is the use of respiratory system? So I am having a respiratory system. As we know that respiratory system is called as lungs. You may observe here. This is the picture of real lungs. Understanding? Lungs which will be looks like this. So as we know that this is what we used to call as a respiratory system of our human beings. So what is the use of it? What is the function of it? Can you able to say anybody? Why we need to take this one? Yeah, cellular respiration. Very good, Dana. So why we should have this respiratory system? Because of why? So this function of respiratory system is to breathe in oxygen for respiration. Is it yes or no? Is it yes or no? So what is the use of your lungs? What is the use of your lungs? They will breathe the oxygen, which is, understand, useful for producing energy from food, and also they will breathe out carbon dioxide, which is produced by respiration. Is it yes or no?
Yes.
Will say. So the breathing, the function of respiratory system in any animal, any organism is to exchange of gases. Correct or not? Breathe in oxygen and breathe out. Breathe in oxygen and breathe out what?
Carbon dioxide.
Which is produced by respiration. So the breathing organs of human beings, which we used to call as, which is known as what? The breathing organs of human beings is called as lungs. Yes or no? So these lungs are known as breathing organs of human beings. All of you should note it down. Understanding? Lungs are known as breathing organs of human beings. So what is the use of breathing organs? Please let me know. What is the use of breathing organs? Please, all of you should tell. Uses of breathing organs.
breakdown of food.
Function.
Breakdown of food.
All of you should note it down. Function of breathing organs. What is the function of breathing organs?
Breakdown of food, sir.
Breakdown of food. No. It is what? Breathe in oxygen. Breathe in oxygen. Right. All of you should write. All of you should write. The function of respiratory system. The function of respiratory system. The function of respiratory system. The function of respiratory system is to breathe in oxygen. The function of, all of you must write, most important, the function of, for one mark question it is used to come. The function of Respiratory. The function of respiratory system is to breathe in oxygen. What is that?
Breathe in oxygen.
Oxygen. Understand? Breathe in oxygen. What is the spelling of breathe? Anybody? Breathe in oxygen. Breathe in oxygen.
B-R-E-T-H-E.
B-R-E-T-H-E. That is breathe in oxygen for respiration. For respiration. What is the meaning of respiration? Releasing
Release of the body.
releasing energy from food. Is it yes or no? That is only called as respiration. Respiration, oxygen for respiration, and to breathe out, and to breathe out carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide produced by which process, Ra? Produced by
Respiration.
respiration. So that is what you must remember. Produced by respiration. So as we know that we have a respiratory system which we used to known as what? What we used to call that as?
Lungs.
All of you, do you understanding all of you? So this is the function of breathing organs in our human beings. So we have a breathing organs called as lungs. Understand? And sir, this picture, what do you know that picture? What you are observing here? Can you able to see? This is what we used to call as model. Do you understand? If you go to any laboratory and all, we have a lungs model which has been made with the understanding molding of a resin cast of human lungs, which we used to known as a resin cast of the human lungs. All of you note it down. This is known as a resin cast, means made with some kind of a polymer. Do you know molding? We can make the ideals of some gods and all by pouring the melting liquid. Is it yes or no?
Yes.
So the same way this is a resin, understanding a resin of the human lungs, which has been made with some kind of a polymer, understand, which has been melted and prepared like this. Once if it is become cool, they will become solid. So that is why we can say this is a model of human lungs, a resin cast of the human lungs. We can say resin cast of human lungs. So what is the meaning of cast? Cast means making a model. Do you understanding all of you? That is it is. So this is what just I need to show the picture in lab how it will be present. Understand? This is what our inside our exact the picture of our lungs. So this is the surface of we can see this is the real lungs. The same thing what we are observing here. This has been made a model. So that is why it is called as a resin cast of human lungs. You can take this picture and you can keep it also. So just I want to show you the model, so that is only I am saying. So that